And our first story of the day is by Smart Alec 246. Casual clothes are now a uniform. I realized the other day that I had finally experienced an I don't work here lady in the flesh. A few months ago, I decided to go shopping for new jeans due to the fact that I hadn't updated my jeans since the middle of college. Also, the pandemic pounds hit me hard and I needed clothes that fit, but let's keep that as the secondary reason. I'm standing in the middle of a department store wearing a cat hair covered sweatshirt and basketball shorts. I had just picked out 2 pairs of jeans and was comparing them to see which I liked best. That's when an old man came walking up to me and said, "Where are your sunglasses?" in an accusatory tone. I couldn't comprehend what he just said to me. My mind was doing mental gymnastics. I was thinking, my sunglasses? Does he mean my mask? Oh no, did I forget my mask in the car? No, I'm wearing my mask. But I also never wear sunglasses. What does this dude mean? Meanwhile, I was just staring at the man with my brow furrowed and my mouth open. All I could stammer out was, "My sunglasses?" He then took a step closer to me and repeated, "Where are your sunglasses?" It finally clicks in my head that he wasn't looking for my sunglasses, but the store sunglasses. I look back at him and reply, "Oh, yeah, I don't work here." Now it looks like he's doing mental gymnastics. Luckily, an actual employee nearby who had been restocking clothes the entire time jumped into the conversation and took the old man off my hands. I still can't comprehend how my outfit seemed appropriate for a department store uniform. I thought it was borderline unacceptable to even be seen in public considering how much cat hair was on it. The entire experience couldn't have been more than 45 seconds, but boy did it feel like an eternity. Luckily, at the end of the day, I have 2 more comfortable pairs of jeans to wear. Alright guys, be honest. When you're going out to a store, doesn't really matter where or when, do you try and dress to at least maybe leave a good impression on other people? Or do you always just rock whatever's the most comfortable? Let me know in the comments down below. Because for me, I'm gonna keep it real. I just wear what's comfortable. To me, I'm not trying to impress anybody, especially if I'm going to like Walmart. This next story is by F Mentar 1. I didn't know I'm not supposed to work here. This happens 2 years after I arrived in the USA when I was 14 or 15 years old, sophomore in high school. So I'm still trying to adapt myself to the new country. One of the issues that I'm facing back then is understanding places and locations. Also, this was back when there was no such thing as Google Map, only Quest Map, where you have to print and carry with you everywhere, and I have no cell phone yet. My high school divides their grades into 5 sections, such as 10A, 10B, 10C, 10D, 10E. And the same thing for freshman, junior, and senior. One of the purposes of this was to make Career Development Day easier. In a specific day of the week, the school sends a bunch of students to their specific location outside of school for the whole day in accordance to their section to learn about different careers and make a short story about what you've learned. For example, A goes to their location on Monday, B on Tuesday, and so on. The purpose of Career Development Day is for students to go to the location designated by the school and to shadow employees there so the students can write a report of what they learned about specific careers. I didn't go to this school for my freshman grade, so I don't know what career development is. However, I was a very shy kid, being new in the USA and all, so I didn't ask too many questions and just went along with it. When I received my roster for the year, I also received the address for my career development location for the year as well. I went to enter the address into MapQuest and printed it out, and I didn't realize I switched the number. For example, what's supposed to be 1333, I typed it as 3133. The first day of my career development day of the year, as expected, I went to the wrong address, which was a USPS warehouse. When I came into the facility, I was so confused and so was the rest of the staff there. I didn't see any other students, and my teacher wasn't there as well. I tried to explain with my sort of broken English that I'm here for Career Development Day, showed the logo of my school on my uniform, and, being extremely nervous, I think they understood what I was trying to say because the next minute, I was being put into work. It was super easy, just sorting mail, very mundane work. Career Development Day was supposed to last half a day from 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. and then go home. I started at 8 a.m. and sheepishly told the staff that my school dismissal time is 2:30 p.m. They were really nice, bought me lunch, drink, and told me that I was a good helper. Also, they wrote a letter mentioning about what I had done the entire time I was there and gave it to me so I could show it to my teacher. The next day, I was being called to see the career development teacher. Turns out I was marked absent for the first day since I didn't show up, and nobody called the school to find out where I was. The funny thing is, the school didn't contact my parents to find out where I am as well. I showed the teacher the letter I received from the USPS staff, and after reading it, my teacher laughed until tears came out of her eyes. I was very embarrassed, but at least the teacher understood, forgave me, and removed my absence. She also pointed out that I was at the wrong address and printed me the real direction. I wish smartphones were invented back then, because I clearly am not smart. These kids nowadays, they take their smartphones for granted. Back in my day, we didn't have Google Maps. Legitimately, I do remember those days when you had to go and actually print out the directions, and it was like step 1, step 2, step 3. It was just a lot more stressful in general back then. When I was a little kid, I remember my parents had big, proper, fold-out maps. You ever try finding a street on an actual map of your city? The times I tried back then, it felt like a nightmare. This next story's by Unfettered Defiance. I Don't Work Year 3, The Curious Case of the Concerned Karen. So I've had a few I don't work year moments in my life. I assume this is because I'm a rather extroverted person and I talk to people. So I don't tend to talk about times that I had it coming, but this time was rather interesting. I've recently returned to my home in Virginia. Things down here are more or less open. In fact, not much has changed due to COVID as far as I can see. People are cautious. Some things closed for a while, but even buffets are back open and have been for a while. Heck, Golden Corral recently opened back up. Not that I can eat there on my diet. I'm the creative director for a design team. I tend to be able to work from anywhere, so I'm rarely in my office. Because my job can be done on my tablet and in voice conference, I tend to have freedom to move about. This has led to a few people making use of my freedom. Sometimes the widow of my deceased buddy and my sister-in-law ask me to babysit the kids. Since they're all older than 5, I don't really mind. There's no diapers to change, and they're all reasonably intelligent enough to listen and follow orders. I have a hard time with the girls for personal reasons. I just don't feel comfortable alone with little girls. I remember little Bethany peed herself once, and I just would not help her get changed. She was like 3 or 4, and I was like, nope. Wrapped her in a towel and drove her to her mom's job. So this is to explain why at this point, I only had the boys. I had Falcon, Andy, and Jason, my nephew and 2 of my neighbor Sissy's kid. Jason's older, like 9 or 10, and Andy and Falcon are 6 and 7. We were at this place called Surge, where you have climbing and bouncing on things and foam pits and like ultimate ninja thingies. And I'm like just noticing the kids' socks are mismatched and busted, and their shoes are just not right. With Andy, I'm like, okay, I may just buy him some new ones, 'cause he's my nephew. But Sissy's kids' shoes are like busted, and I never remember them being that way when Paul was alive. His boys were always crisp. I don't know if Sissy's having any issues or if something's up. I'm not gonna pry, but I get it in my head that since I'm gonna get Andy some new shoes, I'll get Jason and Falcon some new shoes too, and socks. I'm definitely throwing away those socks. So after Surge, we go to Kids' Foot Locker in the mall, and I'm letting the kids pick their shoes. They keep bringing me shoes and I'm helping them try them on and keep going back and getting them. Now, if you've ever been to Foot Locker, you know that Foot Locker workers wear zebra stripes like referees. I'm in a cool gray polo with a black neck and rings on the sleeves. Big dog logo on the chest. There's absolutely no way you can think I work there, aside from that I'm black and my nephew and Sissy's kids are white. So this lady who, I assume was Indian, Hindu Indian, not Native American, I couldn't tell because she had no accent, I'm just going by the look, and she didn't dress that way, more like a rich soccer mom. She comes and brings her kids to me and tells me she wasn't sure of his shoe size, so if I could help get that, and that she's looking for a basketball shoe for summer. The kid looks like he's 12. I look up to her and tell her that I don't work there. She apologizes and walks off. Andy comes back with the ugliest shoe I've ever seen. Nike Hybrid. It's like someone vomited the 90s onto a shoe. And they're $110, so I'm like, I ain't paying $110 for somebody's coked out fever dream shoe. He goes back, comes back with another shoe, loud and colorful shoe. He and Falcon are excited about it. Puma Future Riders or some stuff. Ugly freaking shoe. But whatever, I ain't gotta wear them. I help them try them on. They're too small. We size up his feet, and Andy's feet's gotten bigger since last time. So I tell them to go get me ones in the right size and maybe pick a different shoe 'cause these aren't particularly nice. Lady comes back and she's got an attitude. Apparently she didn't find the worker. Admittedly, I hadn't seen one in a bit. I think they're in the back looking for something for someone. There's a little Latino girl behind the counter though. She starts berating me, asking me why I lied to her and said I didn't work there. I repeated that I didn't. She tells me I'm lying and that she saw me helping those other kids. I sigh 'cause I know where this is going. I inform her that the little white children are with me. I don't work here, but if she wants, since I have the size up thing, I can help her kid with a shoe. She gives me this very, very weird look and says nothing and walks away. Of course, I'm like, whatever. Then Jason walks up. He, of course, has a pair of Jordans. And I'm like, cool, just make sure you get some socks for your little brother and Andy. And he was like, okay, and he walks off. He comes back like 2 minutes later with his brother and Andy in tow. They all look a little weirded out and looking behind him. Jason tells me some weird lady keeps bothering him and asking him questions, telling him if he's in trouble, she can tell him. I'm like, what the freak? And he points out that lady, and she's out in the hall talking to mall security. I'm like, this is not about to happen. Jason, who is smart, is like, are you about to be profiled? And I'm like, I think that already happened, kid. I think we're about to be talked to. So I help the kids out with the shoes, get everything, and wait for the security guard to come up. It's a woman and one of those biking cops, like with the windbreaker and yellow on top. I think they're very polite. The cop especially has this look on his face like this is a huge waste of his time. He says that the lady's concerned about the kids. I don't ask why. I know why. I just say, apparently so, but we're all good here. He asks the kids if they're all good, and Jason says, yeah, that I'm Uncle OP, and we're just buying shoes when that crazy lady kept trying to talk to them. I tell them that Andy's my nephew by marriage, and Falcon and Jason are the kids of my neighbor, who's friends. I'm just babysitting. The security guard lady asks about the shoes, and I tell her my reasoning for buying the shoes, and she's very complimentary. It's a good chat, and they go back to talk to the lady, who argues a bit with them before looking really embarrassed. The security guard, a woman of vague ethnic descent, I don't know, but she's pretty, looks like she's dressing her down. As everyone gets their things and gets ready to check out, the other workers nod back from the back, and the lady comes back to me and apologizes and asks if I'm still willing to help her find some basketball shoes for her son. She says, with everything going on in the world right now, you can't be too careful. I want to get on my high horse and call her out, but I'm like, example, children, blah, blah, blah. So I just say, it's all right. Her heart was in the right place, and it's cool. I help her son get some shoes, some bright light blue Super Mario Pumas. I took the boys for ice cream at Sweet Frog that I couldn't eat and called my wife up to let her know what happened. We had a good laugh. The whole, are you okay, thing happens more often when I have the girls than the boys, which is why I don't like having the girls. But it's funny nonetheless. Certainly the most polite, negative, I don't work here moment I've ever been in. I think considering the entire circumstance and the assumption behind a lot of the decisions that this lady made, like there was at least 2 different circumstances where they mistook you for something just because of the color of your skin, whether it was thinking you're an employee or thinking that you might be just, kidnapping children or something, that basically, I think OP was far too generous, but I'm pretty sure OP had to hold back just because the kids were there. And of course, you don't want to set a bad example. But man, I think most of us know this lady deserved just a good call out as to what was going on. Sure, they apologized after the fact, and it's nice that they did, but it just frankly came way too late after all this assumption that this lady was putting out there. And this isn't, I think it's going to rain. This is literally, I think this person might be kidnapping these kids. I kind of doubt it, but you just kind of hope that it might have been an eye-opening moment for her.